we are back with War 5 against ASR. Today I'll be taking in Warlock, Black Widow, and Mr. Negative. My path assignments are path 6 in section 1 and path 7 in section 2. So path 6 here, I got Tigra first. We're going to slap on 6-hour boosts. Originally it was just so that I could take all my path fights and then take the 2 mini bosses I have later in the morning, but timing ended up working out to where I take everything in these boosts. So this first Tigra fight, Mr. Negative, I don't need a Mr. Fantastic Petrify here because there's not an aura like Doom that I want to avoid. So game plan, just like Doom, parry heavy 3 times, convert the 9 light energy, and then I'm supposed to parry heavy 1 more time, or just parry and convert those light energy. But as you're gonna see here, there's the conversion. I'm gonna parry again, and then I just completely forget that I need to convert those 2. It's not a big deal. I'm only relying on 1 Petrify with Strike Back, and it's an 80% reduction in power gain. So you're gonna see here that that was enough to kill her. So it was pretty normal. It's nice to see that 1 evade counter is enough. Moving on to this Immortal Hulk on Power Focus 1 Bubble Shield, taking it with Warlock. I've got tech boosts on so that I can cycle SP2s quicker. But I am going to throw on an invulnerability boost instead of a PS1 in case I get hit during his unblockable phase. So game plan here, I'm going to count my blocked hits. Ideally, I'm just going to want to wail on him as quick as and get his health down as quick as possible. If he's not going to throw SP1, then I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep pushing him since it's Power Focus 1 and take advantage of the lowered combat rate after SP1. What you are going to see, however, is that this iHulk was placed with willpower, so that's kind of a bonus for this node. He's going to be degenning almost the whole fight, and he's going to be losing power almost the whole fight. So even if he was stubborn with SP1, he's going to stay at SP1 or below SP1 pretty much the entire fight. So 30 seconds in, we're at 50%. We've already thrown 1 SP2. We're building up to our second. Suicides would help me get to my second, but I decided not to put him on due to the Mr. Negative gameplay around this fight. So, and as you can see, we're 45 seconds in and he's almost gone. So we didn't need him. And down he goes. We actually prevented the immortality. So moving on, Apocalypse on Power Snack. Decided to attempt him with Mr. Negative for a couple of reasons. One, the immunity to Power Snack and the damage he does for it. 2, building light energy increases energy resistance on block. And really that's it. And the Petrify for backup recovery. Biggest thing to watch out here is that Apocalypse builds up evade resistance. So I'm really only going to chance, and I got smacked in the face there, I'm really only going to chance 1 evade counter. So it means that the first evade counter, I'm going to make sure that I have 10 light energy before I go for it. So tried to parry there, missed the parry, parried here, parry again, charge heavy, and now we have the SP2. However, that's only 11 degen, so this isn't going to push him down far enough to the 50% point. So if anything, it did some damage, but the fight's going to take a little longer than normal whenever I use Mr. Negative here on Power Snack. So I was hoping we'd get to that 50% with the 2 Petrifies up. Oh, looks like we did. So it did reduce some of the power gain, which just means we're going to end up blocking another SP1. But now the game plan is switched to as if he has unfazed. We're just going to use SP1 when we have 7 to 9 light energy. And then we'll build to SP2 and drop the SP2 with the resulting dark energy. Can't really take a heavy here, he'll bleed you. So not getting knocked down is not really an option, like I've done against Mojo bosses. But again, there's not really a worry here. Block damage is going to be reduced. It's not a boss Apocalypse, so it's not crazy block damage. It's definitely manageable. It's just going to cost some potions for later. But what worked out this war is that I didn't need to use Mr. Negative after this fight. So nearing the end here, and down he goes. So a little longer than you would like, but works out fine. All right, moving on, path 7 in section 2. Got this Domino here on Spite with Rise to Power. I'm going to be taking it with Warlock. This is probably my least favorite fight. One of the least favorite fights on the map. Just because Domino, RNG-wise, can just go so nutty. Can be a perfect fight one war, and then it can just go completely south the next. But anyways, for most fights, you can reduce the risk of the RNG being bad on your side. One is to block a lot of hits with Domino, hoping that the non-contact hits degen her and therefore power drain her, or sorry, the reverse power drain her and therefore degen her. The other is being mindful when Lucky pops up and not ending combos with a medium or just being ready for evade. The other is to have tech combat boosts, and I have suicides on for this fight. So your hope is to maybe cycle SB2s. Now, if she's lucky, I would not recommend throwing an SB2. I would recommend waiting till SB3. But if she's not lucky during an SB2, or when you have an SB2 like there, then you might as well throw it. So now she's lucky. I got an SB2 back with suicides and tech boosts. But I'm going to go ahead and wait it out. She got pushed to SB3 due to Spite. Not a big deal. We use an invulnerability boost for this fight, so we can take 3 of these as long as we don't get hit during the fight. I believe I come out of this with an SB3, and then we just drop it. So, pretty clean fight, pretty smooth. Taking only one SB3 means the fight went really well, especially since we soloed with a great deal of health left. So, not a bad fight at all. One that I was kind of worried about was this fight here, Terrax on AoE and kinetic transference. I was kind of worried about what strategy would be the best for Claire to finish him before the rock field finishes her. So I believe after discussing, we went in thinking we should drop SB2 while in blood, so that we'll at least heal some of the damage back. And I believe at first it goes fine, but between the combo of AoE, or sorry, just between the fact that, or just because of the fact that AoE increases damage and increases power gain, this got a little dicey, really sketchy at the end. So maybe an argument would have been made to just drop SB3s with 20 charges. Who knows? At the end of the day, we would probably, if we can, send a Cosmic Ghost Rider here or another option that doesn't have to deal with the crazy power gain and therefore the rock field and therefore just ends the fight in 30 to 45 seconds. So you see here, my plan was kind of to parry heavy him to build power, but also to push him back. And I was hoping, unlike here, to throw SB2s right when the rock field ended, but I kept prolonging the rock field with my SB2s by accidentally throwing them right before the rock field would have ended. So here I'm getting a little cornered. I'm a little worried he's going to get pushed to SB2. Don't really want to deal with the block damage from that, especially because of AoE. So we're against the wall, and he decided to throw SB1. And here I decided to throw SB2 to make some room and heal back some of the rock field. And now I'm back to the parry heavy, trying to create some space. I'm a little too close to the wall. I missed a parry there. That's another thing that didn't help. I seem to be missing parries with these XL champs and their quick movements. So off just slightly and taking the resulting block damage. But you see here, we're winning the fight, but now his power gain is enough for 1 to 2 heavies to push him to SB1. And I guess I should have been letting the rock field fall a little bit more here instead of trying to punish. But I was, again, concerned about getting cornered and then just not having any room at all. And here we are. He's still got power. And now I'm forced to throw this SB2 while I have suicides and try to heal some of it back. So thought, let me wait it out. Let me parry. That almost killed me. And then throw this SB1 in hopes that it kills him. So we narrowly escaped that fight. It was kind of sketchy there at the end. Okay, next we're taking this Captain Marvel movie on Stun, Reflect, Polka Dot Power. After a few duels, I did take suicides off here, so we're no longer running suicides. It was just for Path 7. I did decide after dueling and because of high ground that I decided to stay in Plagued Curse for this fight. And you'll see why. I decided I was going to switch here, and you see the energy damage doing the bonus damage, so that's definitely going to speed the fight up. But I was going to retaliate heavy with my heavy to build power instead of relying on polka dot power. Also, she doesn't have many buffs until she goes into binary, so I can't really get it through MD until she officially goes into binary. I didn't want to do this in Hellfire because I did not want to accidentally push her into high ground charges. And you can see it's only been about 35 seconds, and she's well on her way to, she's in her last fourth of her health. I clipped by that SP1. I didn't really care. It was in the middle of me trying to dex out, just ate my invulnerability buff, so we really have to focus on not parrying, and down she went. So I think it's a good idea to take that one in Plague and just let the Mystic benefit versus Captain Marvel take over. Moving on to Penny Parker on Brute Force. This one here, we place a white Magneto pre-fight so that you can reliably parry heavy without getting auto-blocked and therefore getting power drained and taking damage for it. The best defense, that's what was also here. So my game plan for this entire fight was just to parry heavy to SP3 and then use SP3. I'm not going to combo retaliate after SB1. I don't want to give her extra power when I don't need to because of the auto block and the node best defense. I also did not want to take any additional damage. And you can see here the parry heavy's going fine. One benefit was that Penny was placed with willpower. So we're lucking out here. And again, with these XL champs, I'm missing the initial dash in parry. It's like the quick strike I'm not in tune with. Could have just been nerves after that Terrax fight. So we're at about 45 seconds done. She's at 50% health. We're creeping up on our first SP3. Decide to throw it regardless of her power and just block when we come out of it so that she power drains back to 0. And we're gonna heal up from this SP3. And down goes all that power. So now we're going back to the parry heavy. And this is the fight. That's all it is. Haven't taken this before, but I've seen it. Concept makes sense. It's just a nice way to bypass that auto block and not deal with either damage from it or giving her power through the node. So that was the end of my war. Our BG ended up tying their BG in deaths, which kind of sucked after the 2 donuts that we had. We, however, ended up losing this war 9-5. So we're back in the swing of let's die. These 3 losses are the 3 alliances we lost to last season. There's one more we haven't faced that we lost to last season. We'll see how the season ends. Right now we're in Plat 1 trying to fight to get back in Masters, hopefully top 10. We'll see. We got one more war to the halfway point. Hopefully we can pick it up and be a little more consistent. Who knows with map 8 going on. But I hope you guys enjoyed my fights. I will see you guys at the next one.